The Council's decree. Commander Ilara Vance stood at the observation deck of the diplomatic vessel Aurora, gazing at the massive space station that housed the Galactic Council. Centauri Station hung in space like a jeweled crown, its crystalline arms extending outward in a perfect geometric pattern that seemed to defy the laws of physics. After 15 years in Earth's interstellar defense force, Vance had seen her share of alien architecture, but the sight still took her breath away. Impressive, isn't it? Dr. Kaido Nakamura appeared at her side, the xenolinguistics expert adjusting his glasses as he took in the view. 7,000 years of engineering expertise, built by 17 different species working in harmony. That's the official story, Vance replied, her eyes narrowing as she spotted the military vessels positioned strategically around the station. I count 8 Arcadian warships, 3 Zoloxian destroyers, and what looks like a Thraxian dreadnought. That's a lot of firepower for a peaceful diplomatic gathering. Ambassador Sarah Chen joined them, her formal diplomatic attire immaculate as always. Our sensors detected them as soon as we dropped out of FTL. The Arcadians claim it's standard security for an emergency session, but this is definitely unusual. Vance turned to face her team. Remember your briefings. We're here to listen and report back to Earth Command. No commitments, no concessions, no matter how they pressure us. The human delegation was escorted through the grand hallways of Centauri Station by a pair of Minervians, their translucent bodies glowing with internal bioluminescence. Aliens of all descriptions moved through the corridors, some floating, others slithering, many walking on various configurations of limbs. Most gave the humans a wide berth, some with expressions that Vance recognized as fear, others with what appeared to be sympathy. They're looking at us like we're already condemned, Nakamura whispered. The council chamber was a vast amphitheater, with concentric rings of seating rising from a central platform. The human delegation was directed to seats in the outermost ring, far from the center of power. Vance noticed that the other minor species and newer council members were similarly positioned at the periphery. High Arbitrator Sci-Fi of the Arcadian hegemony rose from the central dais, his crystalline exoskeleton catching the light. Standing at nearly 3 meters tall, the Arcadian cut an imposing figure as his voice boomed throughout the chamber, translator devices converting his harmonic speech patterns into standard galactic common. This emergency session is called to address a matter of grave concern to galactic stability and peace. Sci-Fi announced, the rapid militarization and unchecked expansion of the Sol system species known as humans represents an existential threat to the established order. A holographic display materialized above the central platform, showing a map of human-controlled space. Though Earth had only colonized 12 star systems in the 70 years since achieving FTL capability, the map made their territory appear far more extensive than it actually was. In the past decade, Sci-Fi continued, humans have increased their military capabilities by 400%. They have constructed vessels with displacement and firepower exceeding anything justified by defensive needs. The hologram shifted to show what appeared to be massive human battleships under construction. Vance frowned. The ships depicted bore some resemblance to Earth's newest cruiser class, but were dramatically exaggerated in size and armament. Ambassador Chen leaned close to Vance. That's not accurate. Those aren't our ships. I know, Vance whispered back. Someone's feeding them falsified intelligence. For the next 3 hours, the Arcadians presented their case against humanity, supported by the Zoloxians and Thraxians. They displayed doctored footage of human military exercises, presented research suggesting Earth was developing banned weapons technologies, and cited examples from human history and culture to paint a picture of an inherently violent, dangerously unpredictable species. A few of the middle-tier powers attempted to speak in Earth's defense. The Solarians, with whom humans had established a beneficial trade relationship, pointed out that Earth had helped them repel raiders from their outer colonies when the Council had denied their requests for assistance. The Proxians mentioned humanity's medical aid during their recent epidemic. But these voices were quickly silenced by procedural objections from the dominant powers. Finally, High Arbitrator Sci-Fi called for a vote on the resolution. The result was displayed on the main screen. 174 in favor, 82 against, with 43 abstentions. The resolution passes, Sci-Fi announced with an air of solemn satisfaction. The following terms are hereby issued to the human government as a final warning. First, humans will immediately halt all military shipbuilding and dismantle 40% of their existing fleet. Second, Council inspectors will be granted unlimited access to all human installations, military and civilian, across all 12 of their systems. Third, human expansion beyond current boundaries will cease permanently. Fourth, all technological research deemed potentially destabilizing by Council assessment will be abandoned and relevant data surrendered to Council oversight. The human government has 30 Earth days to comply, or face sanctions and potential military intervention. The chamber fell silent as all eyes turned to the human delegation. Ambassador Chen stood, her face a carefully composed mask of diplomatic neutrality. The delegation acknowledges receipt of the Council's demands. We will convey them to Earth immediately and return with our government's response. Back aboard the Aurora, Vance called an emergency meeting in the secure conference room. This was a setup from the beginning, she said, pacing the room. They never intended to hear our side. The question is why now? Nakamura said, reviewing the data they'd managed to collect. We're still tiny compared to the major powers. The Arcadians control over 200 systems, the Zoloxians nearly as many. I think I found something, Lieutenant Maya Ortiz, their intelligence officer, said. She had been running constant scans during the Council session. I detected unusual data traffic between certain minor delegates. Some species seemed to be receiving real-time instructions. Puppet votes. Ambassador Chen nodded. But that's not all. I've been reviewing the Council archives we were granted access to. The Arcadians have been conducting extensive surveys of an uncharted sector just beyond our Ta City colony. Resource competition, Vance suggested. No, Chen said, pulling up a star chart. This region contains an unusual concentration of ancient ruins, remnants of the precursor civilization. A heavy silence fell over the room. The precursors were a mysterious species that had dominated the galaxy over 1 million years ago, leaving behind artifacts of immense technological value. Under Council law, all precursor technology was to be shared equally among member species, but in practice, the dominant powers hoarded the most valuable finds. They're trying to clear us out before we realize what's there, Vance said quietly. Nakamura's eyes widened. They're using these false claims as justification to restrict our movements and access. Once we're contained, they'll strip the sector clean. Ambassador Chen nodded grimly. Exactly. This isn't about security at all. It's about keeping humanity from gaining access to technology that might level the playing field. So what do we do? Ortiz asked. Commander Vance stood by the viewport, watching as the Aurora prepared to jump back to Earth space. We tell Earth exactly what happened here, and what we've discovered. Earth has been preparing for something like this since we first encountered the Council. What do you mean? Nakamura asked. Vance exchanged a knowing look with Ambassador Chen. Did you really think Earth would join an interstellar community without contingency plans? The public military forces that the Council is so concerned about are just what we've allowed them to see. As the Aurora entered FTL, Vance thought about what awaited them back home. The Arcadians and their allies believed they were dealing with a young, naive species that would bow to intimidation. They were about to learn how gravely they had miscalculated. Part 2. Operation Prometheus. The atmosphere in Earth's Unified Defense Command was tense but controlled. The massive underground complex beneath the Antarctic ice sheet housed the nerve center of humanity's military leadership, deliberately positioned far from the public-facing headquarters in Geneva. Here, hundreds of meters below the surface, Commander Ilara Vance delivered her report to the assembled leadership. The ultimatum is clearly non-negotiable, she concluded. The Council expects full compliance within 30 days. Based on their fleet movements, they're prepared to enforce these demands with military action if necessary. Secretary General Amara Okafor, the elected head of the United Earth government, stood at the head of the conference table. Her tall frame and commanding presence drew all eyes as she spoke. Thank you, Commander Vance. Your team has done excellent work in uncovering the true motives behind this so-called final warning. She turned to Admiral Zhao Wei, the Supreme Commander of Earth's military forces. Admiral, what is your assessment? Admiral Zhao activated the holographic display in the center of the table. The visible Arcadian forces currently positioned near our borders consist of 27 capital ships and approximately 60 support vessels. However, our deep space reconnaissance suggests they have additional forces moving into position behind this forward deployment. Can we withstand such a force? Asked one of the regional representatives. A slight smile crossed Admiral Zhao's face. With what they know about us? No. With what we actually have? Absolutely. The holographic display shifted to show a complex network of installations spread throughout Earth's controlled space. Many of them appeared as unregistered mining operations, research outposts, or automated relay stations, all perfectly innocent on official records. For the past 40 years, Zhao continued, Earth has maintained two parallel development programs: the public program, which the Council monitors, and Project Prometheus, which they know nothing about. It's time we showed them what humanity is truly capable of, Secretary General Okafor said. Admiral Zhao, you are authorized to initiate Operation Prometheus. Commander Vance, your team will return to Centauri Station with our official response. 3 days later, the Aurora docked once again at Centauri Station. This time, the human delegation was met with cold formality. The council chamber was packed to capacity. Word had spread about the emergency session and its dramatic ultimatum. High Arbitrator Sci-Fi didn't bother with pleasantries. Does the human government accept the council's terms? Ambassador Chen stepped forward. Secretary General Okafor wishes to address the council directly. After a brief dispute over protocol, a large holographic projection appeared above the central platform. Secretary General Okafor stood in what appeared to be a simple office, Earth's flag visible behind her. Distinguished members of the Galactic Council, she began, her voice calm and measured. I have reviewed your demands carefully. Before I respond, I would like to ask a question. Would any of your civilizations accept such terms? Would the Arcadians surrender their sovereignty? Would the Zalaxians allow unlimited access to their installations? The chamber remained silent. I thought not, Okafor continued. Humanity came to the stars in peace, but not in weakness. We have studied galactic history, both yours and ours. We understand power and the responsibility it entails. She nodded to someone off-screen. The holographic display beside her changed to show a real-time feed from across human space. One by one, previously hidden installations became visible as energy shields deactivated and cloaking systems powered down. Massive orbital platforms, defense arrays, and shipyards appeared around every human colony world. Gasps and exclamations erupted throughout the council chamber. Sci-Fi visibly recoiled. For decades, Okafor explained, we have maintained two separate development programs. What you have seen and monitored was only what we chose to reveal. What you see now is Operation Prometheus, our insurance policy against exactly this kind of coercion. The display shifted again to show a massive fleet emerging from hidden docks within the asteroid belts of multiple systems. Ships far more advanced than anything the Council believed humans capable of producing moved into defensive formations. As we speak, Admiral Zhao's voice cut in as he joined the projection. The Guardian fleet is taking up positions throughout human space. Our defense grid is now fully operational, including our FTL interdiction system. This announcement caused even greater commotion. FTL interdiction technology, The ability to prevent faster-than-light travel within a designated area was theoretical at best for most Council species. Additionally, Okafor continued once the noise had subsided somewhat. We are aware of your interest in the precursor ruins in Sector 47A. We are also aware that your ultimatum was designed primarily to prevent humanity from accessing those ruins. Hyvak stepped forward, his crystalline form vibrating with what might have been anger or fear. These claims are absurd. The human government clearly intends to threaten the Council with military action. Not at all, Okafor interrupted smoothly. We merely wish to establish that future interactions will be based on mutual respect, not intimidation. Earth rejects your ultimatum, but offers instead a proposal for genuine cooperation. Over the next hour, Okafor outlined a new framework for human-Council relations. Earth would maintain its defense capabilities, but would agree to reasonable transparency measures applied equally to all species. The precursor ruins would be jointly explored, with discoveries shared according to actual Council law rather than the dominant power's interpretation of it. The choice before you is simple, Okafor concluded. Continue down the path of confrontation, which I assure you will benefit no one, or embrace a new relationship based on equality and mutual benefit. The Council erupted into chaos as various factions argued vehemently. Commander Vance watched from the sidelines, noting which species seemed outraged and which appeared almost relieved at this turn of events. I think we've just changed the balance of power, Ambassador Chen murmured beside her. That was always the plan, Vance replied quietly. Humanity wasn't going to remain a junior partner forever. 3 weeks of intense negotiations followed. The Arcadian hegemony and their closest allies initially threatened military action, but their resolve wavered when several mid-tier powers, including the Solarians and Proxians, formally aligned themselves with Earth. Finally, a new agreement was reached. Human space would remain sovereign, with mutual defense pacts acknowledged by the Council. The precursor sector would be explored by a joint expedition with equal representation from major and minor powers alike. Most significantly, a reform commission would be established to review Council governance structures, which had remained largely unchanged for millennia. As the Aurora prepared to return to Earth, Commander Vance joined Ambassador Chen on the observation deck. Do you think it will last? Vance asked, watching as the crystalline arms of Centauri Station receded from view. Chen smiled thoughtfully. The Arcadians won't forget this humiliation easily, but they've learned that humans aren't the primitive newcomers they thought we were. We've earned their respect, at least, Vance agreed. Not just respect, Chen said. Fear, too. And in galactic politics, that's often more valuable. The Aurora engaged its FTL drive, streaking away from Centauri Station toward Earth. Behind them, the balance of power in the galaxy had shifted irreversibly. Humanity had announced its arrival on the galactic stage, not with violence, but with a simple, unmistakable message. We will not be bullied. As Earth faded into view on the main screen, Vance thought about what this new era would bring. Challenges, certainly. Dangers, undoubtedly. But also opportunity. The chance to build something better than the stagnant hierarchy that had ruled the stars for thousands of years. The Galactic Council had issued its final warning to humanity, expecting submission. Instead, they had received a frosty response that shook the very foundations of their power. And in that moment, the future of the galaxy had been forever changed.